Hello, good morning and welcome to the weekend edition of the newspaper show right here on ET Now. I'm Shel D'Souza and I'll take you to the top stories that are on the Economic Times as well as the Times of India. So let's get going. The top 10 headlines is there in the Economic Times this morning for you. And first up, it is Prime Minister Narendra Modi saying that the focus on telecom, self-reliance and security. You have Mukesh Ambani, they're seeking government step for 2G Mukt India. Shifting to pharmaceutical space, duty on bulk drug imports may be hiked up to 25%. Serum Institute of India gets nod to start human trials for vaccine. Tax revenue drops 33% in the June quarter. Finance Minister says that they are working with RBI on recast of loans. SEBI relaxes upfront margin framework. No nod to WhatsApp to go live for UPI operations. This is the word coming in from RBI. Pegatron, Samsung may have sought PLI scheme. And lastly, the housing minister saying they're open to 100% FDI in affordable rental housing. And those are the top headlines that's there in the Economic Times for you. But let me get you the top market headlines that's there in the paper. And first up is brokerages remain bullish on Reliance Industries post their Q1 performance. Pharma gains amid rush to buy defensive. Analysts raise HDFC target. They've cited resilience. UCO Bank to seek RBI nod to exit the PCA framework. That's the chief executive of the bank saying. And Navin Agarwal named MD of Motilal Oswal AMC. Now from market on to corporate headlines then. COVID cripples Tata Motors Q1 loss at 8,443 crore rupees. Xiaomi saying that the TV import curbs to boost local production. Tata Cap to pick up 0.85% stake in biologicals. JSW Energy drops plan to buy GMR's power plant. And lastly, IOC Q1 profit plunges on weak refining margins. Alright, and those are the top headlines that's there on the Economic Times for you this morning. But first up, let me take you through what the Prime Minister Narendra Modi has said on telecom, and this is the top story in Economic Times. And as India gears up for 5G, Prime Minister Narendra Modi says that India has come a long way on tech front from 2G to 5G. Stresses on digital connectivity to transform lives of the citizen. Prime Minister also said the focus is on telecom, self-reliance and security. So this is what the Prime Minister Narendra Modi actually spoke. It was a message of Modi that was read out at the Cellular Operators Association of India webinar on 25 years of India mobile telephony. So that's what the Prime Minister has said. He's saying there's time to focus on self-reliance and security. India successfully conceived, operationalized JAM Trinity, that is Jan Dhan, Aadhaar and Mobile, digital connectivity and enabler of social, economic and transformational mobility. So that is the word coming in from the Prime Minister Narendra Modi on the telecom sector, that the focus is on making it self-reliance and also on its security. But staying with telecom, you have another important quote coming in from Mukesh Ambani. Reliance Industries Chairman Mukesh Ambani called on the government to actually speed up policy measures to ensure the rapid end of 2G mobile technology in India. And this is that headline which my colleague Ajay is going to join in to talk about. Ajay, we know the Jio's push so that India can, all of them can have a 4G, and now he's stepping into 5G era. And here's a quote coming from Mukesh Ambani saying that he seeks government steps for 2G Mukt India.
Well, that's correct. Yesterday, Mukesh Ambani did mention this at the Telecom conference, And if you see, where this is coming from is just a couple of days back at the AGM, he announced a partnership with Google for upgrading the 2G, 3G phones in India, because there are almost 300 million 2G, 3G phones also in India, which are not smartphones. So basically, he wants to bring those instruments also at par with 4G, 5G, and that's the upgradation pack which they've had with Google. Google will be helping them, these users, low-cost users, where the data and the voice requirement is relatively low, but there is keenness to come above into the smartphone kind of a market. And the main point to watch out for is that Vodafone and Bharti have almost 30 and 40% of 2G users. And the way Mukesh Ambani wants to go aggressive behind 2G, 3G users now, the collateral damage will be on these two companies. So this is something to watch out for as it unravels in the next couple of months.
Ajay, thank you for taking us through the important quote coming in from Mukesh Ambani, how he's saying that he sees government steps on to making India 2G free or 2G Mukt Bharat. Let's shift focus now and let's talk about the pharmaceutical space now. Page 5, there are two stories on the pharmaceutical space. I'll talk about this one first, or rather my colleague Pankaj is joining in to talk about it. Pankaj, the headline reads that the government may hike import duty on bulk drugs. The Department of Pharmaceuticals is considering proposal to increase duty to 20 to 25%. As far as we all know that our pharmaceutical space is heavily dependent on the APIs, import of API. So how will this actually pan out for our pharmaceutical companies in the hike of import duty coming in?
Yeah, hi. API is something that the government has been constantly focusing in on since Feb. And since Feb, there have been some announcements that have happened earlier on the API front. But now probably this is the next step which is taking. But as you pointed out, it's a proposal at this point of time. It's not that it has happened. Currently, the duty is around 10%, and the import duty may be hiked to about 20 to 25 odd percent. That is essentially the proposal that has come in. Now, why is this important is the point that you were highlighting, that, almost 60-65% of the bulk drug or API comes in only from China. It's a cheaper product, and that's why people, tend to opt for that. And that's the key reason that, it has been proposed. They have done earlier measures to promote production, and now probably the last step could be this import duty. But again, it's a proposal. Let's see whether it goes through or not, or maybe some other measures may also come in.
All right, Pankaj, thank you for taking us through that story. Let's shift focus now on to another story, like I mentioned, that's there on the page 5 of Economic Times, and this is pertaining to Serum Institute of India. They've got a nod to start human trials for Oxford vaccine. So Serum Institute of India has got the approval on Friday to start the human trials in India for COVID-19 vaccine candidate developed by University of Oxford after the company submitted a revised proposal to the Drug Regulatory Authority of India. This is said by the sources to Economic Times. So according on Wednesday, if you see, the committee of experts had deferred a decision on the request of Serum Institute to start trials and asked the company to amend its protocol for the clinical study. So as per the new proposal now, 1,600 people will participate in the trials in over 20 cities spread across India. So there you go, a big booster coming in for Serum Institute of India, and also that they are going to go ahead and they've got the nod to start the human trials for Oxford vaccine. So that is all from the pharmaceutical space. Now let me shift focus now to a story that's there actually on the page 1 of Economic Times, and I'll have my colleague Vinny join in to talk more about that. And Vinny, the page 1 of Economic Times, give me a moment while I flip the page for you, is saying that import curbs on television says the TV companies may now take license route for big screen models and no plan to set up new production lines as of now as demand is limited. We know that yesterday the government, we all saw that government notification that they put the import of TVs into restricted list. So this is a fresh piece of information coming in on Economic Times, how the company may look to take the license route for big screen models. So what is the exact details of the story and how does it impact the players?
So, Cheryl, you rightly said, because this is all coming in after the government has reintroduced the import curbs on TV sets. So, what are these manufacturers saying that, there's not too much demand for these TV sets? So, for these big companies like Samsung, Xiaomi, TCL, it does not make sense to actually start local manufacturing because that would be more expensive for them, especially with this limited demand. Even LG and Sony are now evaluating a license route, so they will take that permission from the government, which was required to actually import data. They know it import TV sets. So this is what they are planning to do instead of opening a local manufacturing setup over here to manufacture these products, because they think it's not making sense as of now because it's a limited demand. So even if you go to see TCL India's general manager Mike Chen did say that they are in touch with the DGFT to get these licenses. So they are already starting the process to get this imports from China. They know it will be a bit difficult if the products are imported from China, but they are going in for that route as of now because it makes sense and it's not that expensive as of now. Now, they did say that they may fear some, this could cause some impact on the availability of the heightened TV sets during the festive season. We do see a lot of festive season when it works. More TV sets are in demand during festive season. A lot of sales are during the festive season. So we'll keep an eye out on actually, what pans out. Plus, this also impacts smaller brands more than the bigger brands because they mostly end up ordering or importing more China products from Chinese companies or from outside India. And that is what may impact the companies. And we may keep a close eye on how this actually affects the TV business in India and what these companies actually end up doing.
All right, Vinny, thank you for taking us through the details of that particular story. Let's shift focus now onto another story that's there on the page 1 of Economic Times, and this is about the tax revenue. The COVID-19 setback tax revenue has dropped 33% in June quarter. The fiscal deficit is at 83.2% of full-year budget estimates. It's the highest in Q1 since FY 1999. So the government tax revenue has fallen in April to June quarter, underscoring the damage done to the economy by COVID-19 pandemic and the lockdown that followed. The revenue shortfall has widened the fiscal deficit at the end of June to 83.2% of the full-year budget target. This is the highest fiscal deficit in percentage term for the first quarter going back to available data since FY 1999. So therefore, there you go. Tax revenues have seen a huge drop. The fiscal deficit is at a high. And also, if you look at core contraction, that slowed to 15% in the month of June. If you see, the core sector data also came out yesterday, and there was a drop of 15% in June compared to a 22% decline in May, and it had fallen 37% in April. So on core sector data, there is some sort of relief. The contraction is actually easing a bit, but definitely the fiscal deficits and tax collections have actually dropped. Let's shift focus now on another story that's there, and that is about SEBI. SEBI has relaxed the upfront margin framework, and it's a relief for brokers and traders. What exactly has the SEBI done? To talk more on this, I'm joined by my colleague Jayesh. Jayesh, good morning. And looks like it's a relief for the brokers and the traders from SEBI front.
Good morning, that's right. The SEBI has in fact relaxed the penalty norms that it had first proposed to levy on brokers in case the entire margin was not collected upfront from the client. Now what they are saying is that the penalty will not be applicable in case the trading members actually collect at least 20% of the margin that is required from the client. So this is a big relief that has come for the broker community as well as the clients as well, because there was a lot of hype that had been built up around this news in the last few days. Now, what it actually says is, the margin requirement need not be fulfilled at the first go, and a minimum of 20% needs to be collected from the client itself. However, the cash market margin that was going to be applicable, they have further deferred this to 1st of September for, by a month or something, because it was supposed to come into place today itself, but now it has been pushed to 1st September. So that is definitely, positive for the broker community. And it says that, there was the earlier margin collection, what was proposed, that would actually cause a lot of hardship to the brokers as well as clients, because what happens is a lot of brokers actually fund the client requirement before the actual payment is made by the client themselves. So this will actually provide a boost to the trading volumes as well. And sentimentally it is positive, but the cash market penalty that was going to be levied, that has been pushed to 1st of September.
Thank you for taking us through that particular story. Now let's just focus on to earnings. And Tata Motors posted their Q1 earnings yesterday, and it was a loss. This results of Tata Motors is followed by of Maruti Suzuki, where they also posted a loss the first time in 15 years. But to take us through Tata Motors' performance and what led to this particular loss, we all know it would be the COVID-19 pandemic. To get more details on this, I'm joined by my colleague Karunya. Karunya, take us through Tata Motors' Q1 performance.
It's largely a better than expected set delivered by Tata Motors for the quarter gone by. You have a revenue beat as well, coming in at 31,983 versus our estimate of 28,000 crores. The loss figure is slightly higher than expected. They've delivered a loss of a little more than 8,400 crores. But the surprise element here is the EBITDA positive performance that they've managed to deliver amid all the challenges that played themselves out during the quarter gone by. EBITDA has come in at 682.7 crores. They've handed in a margin figure as well of 2.1%. It's a small number. It's definitely indicating a lot of weakness still that persists, but that is no news for a Motown player, at least at this juncture. Handing in a positive EBITDA is perhaps an achievement in itself. We also spoke to PV Balaji during a media call as well. He told us about how ruthless they've been with the cost control and cost rationalization measures, and that is something that aided the company sort of cushion their margins and sort of aid their operational performance overall on a consolidated basis. JLR net revenue was down 44%, coming in at 2.9 billion pounds. EBIT came in negative 13.6%, loss before tax at 413 million pounds. As far as the commentary is concerned for the domestic business, CV still looks very bleak. There are a lot of challenges on the financing side. GDP growth is still very bleak. At least the outlook looks very bleak at this point in time. BS6 cost hike is something that still continues to ail demand. So they believe that perhaps by the end of this fiscal, if not any time in the near term, CV will eventually start recovering. PVs is starting to witness good demand. In fact, JLR as well, good commentary and good initial trends. They're witnessing 95% of their dealers are operational. All of their markets are witnessing a healthy demand, including China. They expect this momentum to continue. No positive outlook or commentary on the profitability front. Right now, the focus is on controlling costs and recovering volumes.
All right, Karunya, thank you for taking us through Tata Motors numbers and in details. And as per ET poll, it's better than expected earnings. Let's shift focus now on to global earnings. So we all know that the global tech giants reported a stellar set of Q1 earnings, and India, the world's fastest growing internet market, found prominent mention in the earnings call of the big tech companies like Amazon, Google and Facebook as well. And what were they saying and what did they talk about India? I'm joined by my colleague Chandra to take us through the details. Chandra, take it away.
Not surprising that the world's biggest internet market finds prominent mention in the earnings call of Amazon, Facebook as well as Google. So just to quickly take you through what they said. If you look at Facebook's founder and CEO Mark Zuckerberg, a lot of emphasis on the work that WhatsApp is doing in India, particularly the recent partnership with Jio platforms where Facebook made a significant investment. So Mark Zuckerberg spoken about bringing thousands of sellers in India onto WhatsApp and doing WhatsApp commerce with the help of Jio. He's also said that if this model works out, this model of WhatsApp commerce works out, he will look at taking it global. So this could be an India first innovation that's going global from Facebook. The other important question that Zuckerberg was asked, of course, was on the status of WhatsApp Pay, which has been stuck in regulatory and legal hurdles. Zuckerberg said that there is no update as of now as far as India and Brazil are concerned, but things are taking longer than they would have liked. So I guess it's still some time away. If you look at Google's Sundar Pichai, he's reiterated the commitment they made to India through the Google for India Digitization Fund, where they've committed $10 billion. He's spoken about how Google wants to have every Indian access a smartphone through this investment and through the work that they are doing with Jio. Finally, Amazon CFO spoke a lot about the work that Amazon is doing in digitizing sellers. Again, MSME is a huge target segment for Amazon, and he's also said that they have plans to increase the number of sellers and also hire more people locally. So clearly a lot of plans for India from all these big tech companies, which posted better than expected numbers for this quarter.
All right, Chandra, thank you for taking us through the details of that earnings call of the big tech company where India has definitely found a mention. Let's shift focus now to a story that's there on the page 7 of Economic Times. And there you go. This is the finance minister who's talking about how the finance ministry is working with RBI on recast of loans. A big headline coming in from the finance minister. Let me take you through the story details. I'll read it directly off the paper. The government is working with RBI on restructuring of loans or an extension of moratorium as requested by the industry. That's the word coming in from Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman on Friday. She said, and I quote, "The focus is on restructuring. Finance Ministry is actively engaged with RBI on this. In principle, the idea that there may be a restructuring required is well taken." This is what she told the members of the industry body FICCI at its National Executive Committee meeting. She also went on to say that I fully understand the requirements of the hospitality sector on extension of the moratorium or restructuring. We are working with RBI on this. So this is what the finance minister is saying. Looks like a helping hope for the industry coming in. What else did she say? She said the government is consulting RBI on relief for industry. Talks are on for loan restructuring. Moratorium extension is ongoing. Fully understand the requirements of hospitality sector, like I mentioned. Development finance institution is in the works. She also went on to say that banks cannot refuse credit to MSMEs under emergency credit scheme. She also said that if it is being refused, instances must be reported, and reciprocity very critical in trade negotiations. That's the word coming in from Finance Minister. Big headlines coming in from that particular address. That the focus is on restructuring. Finance Ministry is actively working with RBI on this, and also she spoke about they are looking at the extension of moratorium as well. Now let's shift focus to a story that's there on the page 3 of Economic Times, and this is pertaining to what RBI had to say on WhatsApp payment systems and what RBI said to Supreme Court. It looks like a major development coming in on that particular front, and I'm joined by my colleague Abhimanyu to take us through the details exactly what RBI has told the Supreme Court. Abhimanyu?
Filing an affidavit in the top court, RBI has informed that WhatsApp was storing payment data abroad beyond the allowed timeline, and it has already asked NPCI to ensure that WhatsApp complies with norms of payment systems. RBI also clarified that they haven't yet allowed WhatsApp to go live for full-scale operations on the UPI platform. Also, they said that NPCI had shared the system audit report and post-change review report which was given by WhatsApp, and NPCI has been asked to ensure that WhatsApp does not store payment data abroad beyond the allowed time limit. WhatsApp earlier had told the Supreme Court that they will not begin a payment service without complying with local Indian laws. The petition in the top court challenges WhatsApp payment service, claiming that it does not comply with data localization norms. Hence, the same should be stopped immediately by NPCI and RBI till WhatsApp starts its compliance with Indian laws.
Abhimanyu, thank you for taking us through the details of that important commentary coming from the RBI to the Supreme Court. Let's shift focus now to the top 5 headlines as there in the Times of India this morning. And first up, let me talk about the COVID toll. And India records highest single-day jump in COVID-19 cases. Monsoon 10% deficit in July is the driest in 5 years. Australia to make Google and Facebook pay for news. No scheduled flights abroad till August 31st. And India reviews continuation of trade pact with ASEAN. Alright, and those are the top stories as there in the Times of India for you as well. And with that, I'm out of time on this edition of the newspaper show. Thank you for watching.